Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on Sport on Full View. I am Xoli Zondo. Let's start things off with the motorsport world, where it is quite competitive and very expensive to be a part of as drivers. Now, the South African driver Jordan Pepper has left the comfort of home to pursue a racing career overseas, and he has progressed to the point where he has been appointed as a factory driver for Lamborghini Squadra Corse team alongside former Formula One driver Romain Grosjean. We are now joined by Jordan via Zoom. A very good evening, Jordan, and welcome to Full View.
Yeah, thanks for having me. As you can see, I'm sat inside my motorhome now in Daytona here, tuning in. It's quite a stressful morning so far, but yeah, I managed to find the time, and thanks for having me on the show.
Lovely. I want us to talk a little bit about your history, dating back to the time when you were racing karts right here in South Africa and then making that bold decision to move away from home to pursue your career in Europe. Let's just chat about that decision that you made.
Yeah, racing was just something that was a part of my family, something that we did together. It was something that my parents gave myself, and obviously my sister also raced as well. It was just something that was really for us to go enjoy as a family. It was really a lot of life lessons learned. I didn't really think it was an opportunity to make it as a career, because if you look in the history, there's not many South Africans who turn professional. So at a point, I wasn't really focused on that. And then when I was like 14, 15, we realized, okay, maybe we can have a shot at going overseas. And for us, Formula One was just not a dream anymore. It was unrealistic to go that way, which is okay, but we really could focus on the GT endurance racing side of it. And that really opened up doors. And yeah, went overseas with the support of a couple of sponsors and my family, obviously. And we managed to make it. It was really make or break. Had to succeed really early on to be able to warrant the financial investment. And yeah, couldn't be more proud. Got my first factory contract when I was 17, first professional contract then. And yeah, now a couple of years later, I've again signed myself with a really elusive international brand like Lamborghini Squadra Corse. And yeah, really excited for this new chapter, a new venture in my life.
Before we get to all of that, a very important part that you spoke of is family. And we know that in the Pepper family, your sister is also quite a good racing driver herself. Your dad, a former racer. And so just talk to us about, the sacrifices that they needed to make for you to find yourself where you are right now.
Yeah, so obviously going racing, as everyone knows, is not a cheap sport.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it's something that as a family we obviously wanted to do. And obviously from my parents, my dad obviously situated himself as a really well-known racing driver. He had a really great professional career, both on motocross, 4 wheels and 2 wheels. So he really was well-known in South Africa, and I think that made it a lot easier following in his footsteps. And then, yeah, having an older sister who I think is the best South African female driver out there, if not one of the world's best female racing drivers, who could push me to my limits, was really cool. What was awesome is her being older is I could learn all the lessons that she went through, all the mistakes that maybe happened, the wrong decisions. It was easier for me to correct because I could learn from my bigger sister. So I have to say credits to both my dad and my sister. They obviously taught me everything I know. My dad was a big influence, still is a big influence in my racing, one that I can trust and believe in. And yeah, I think if you ask my parents or if you ask anyone in my family, they will definitely not say that they wouldn't do it again. I think the proof is in the pudding. It's paid off now. I've had a great career so far, and it's only just begun. So really proud to not only fly the South African flag, but obviously to do this for my family, because it's something that we've all invested in. And yeah, just grateful that we can continue to enjoy this time while we have it.
And one important thing that you've raised there is that it's very expensive to get into racing. I mean, we know that in terms of South Africa, not many athletes are finding themselves there. In fact, it's not a problem that's just unique to South Africa. Even the continent, the world, they find themselves in Europe if you are really intent on progressing your career in the sport. What is it about Europe? You know, or what have been the advantages and disadvantages of racing there?
Well, all the motor manufacturers are from Europe, so it's quite logical that that's their biggest market. Obviously, that's where they're based. So to make it work, I had to sacrifice a lot. I had to give up my childhood in a sense, but in my opinion, I didn't give up anything because racing is exactly what I wanted to do. It's my life. And yeah, that's why it was quite an easy decision. Obviously, it's difficult. The only difficult bit was moving away from my family, really. The rest really was super easy. Moving to Europe was obviously a bold step at age 18, but yeah, I knew I had to give it 110%. And I think as a South African, we built with this little bit of extra, what we call fuss bait. We want to go out, we want to prove to the world that we're better than everyone perceives us to be. And I think we have a never quit attitude. Just had to dig deep sometimes. Sometimes it was tough living in a country where you don't speak the language. Yeah. When stuff goes difficult, but I knew the end goal, and I knew how much everyone invested in their, not only money but time into my career. So every time it was going tough, I just managed to find that extra gear and drive forward. And now I would class myself as one of the best GT racing drivers in the world. There's obviously a great group of guys who are at the top and prime, and yeah, who would have thought that who was dreaming to one day be there? I'm living his dream. So that,
all right,
that also
Jordan,
motivates
just a quick
me
wrap
every single day.
Sorry about that. We know that the 24-hour Daytona is, of course, the short-term goal. But what kind of program are you involved with Romain at the moment?
Yeah, so sharing the car with him in a couple of races this year. It's great to learn from an ex-F1 driver. I think it's going to be such a cool experience. And yeah, just getting to, it's both our first year with Lamborghini Squadra Corse. So there's obviously a few things to learn, and hopefully we can get a few victories and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to that opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much there to Jordan Pepper, who is, of course, racing overseas. He definitely left the comfort of home to make sure that he explores his career overseas. That's where we'll leave it from the sports desk.